it just strikes me as odd that a club of the magnitude of Manchester United, let's just say they're in definitely the top 3 biggest clubs in the world, maybe even the biggest club, have an interim manager for such a long period. It just doesn't go hand in hand.
No, well, it shows the legacy of Sir Alex Ferguson. You know, he's irreplaceable, really. And the amount of trophies that he won, they tried to replicate it with Mourinho, but it's a different style of football. It didn't work. David Moyes actually had a very good win rate, lost his job. Van Gaal couldn't put the team together. It's been a mess, Man United, probably since Ferguson left. I know they've won the odd trophy here and there, but it's not the Manchester United that struck fear into people, certainly when we played. There are teams looking at them, certainly before this week, going there and thinking, great, this might be our only chance in our careers to go to Old Trafford and get a victory. Certainly that's how I'd be thinking. After today, that might just be a little bit different.
Your take? I mean, interim manager, Manchester United.
Yeah, I know. It's
doesn't
not
quite
ideal.
click, does it?
No, and it's not like they'd be short of applicants, is it? Or if the opportunity or the post was available, it's not that they can't get someone. It would be abstracting someone from their current role. That's the issue. Say, for argument's sake, Pochettino, yeah, who everyone assumes will be in the running at very least. Are Tottenham going to let him go right now? They're just going into a new stadium sometime in the future. We don't know exactly when.
Yeah.
But Daniel Levy is not going to let him go lightly.
Okay.
With that move, in motion as well. So loads of different subplots and scenarios.
Some suggestions then. Why don't he become one of the very first big money signings as a manager in the same way that they do with players? Why can't that be the case? They're saying it'll take 34 million. Manchester United.
I've never understood why managers don't get paid for more, even if it's not an official transfer, but a compensation. Because any one manager is more important 99% of the time than any one player. Because he has an influence on the whole scenario, doesn't he? And it's only a matter of time before, however they term it, if it's a transfer fee or compensation, whatever, they're going to escalate, yeah. And if they're sure that they've got the right man, a club like Manchester United would willingly pay 35 million.
Yeah, because they're one of the only clubs in the world who are big enough. If you think they've paid Mourinho,
well, you pay it for players.
Yeah, no,
absolutely.
Why not
for a manager?
I agree, and they are
influence.
in terms of their wealth, they are one of the clubs who could actually go out and compensate a club for their manager. I mean, if the headlines are to be believed, it's £24 million they paid to get rid of Mourinho. It will be another 30 million.
That's true.
That's the best part of £50 million just for the privilege of changing manager before he buys any players. When they sacked Mourinho, they put $125 million on the share price. I mean, it's just no other club operates like this. They are an absolute monster.
Yeah, the shares did go up tremendously.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. And if they get Pochettino, it will be balanced out by the share price doing it again.
Shouldn't they have just tried to do it now? Because if they get Pochettino, depending how long it drags on for, any other manager for that matter, you're giving that manager less and less time to get his players in, to sort out his pre-season, to work out everything that needs to be worked out.
Well, the issue will be at Tottenham. There's always an agreement. It's a bit like when Ronaldo went to Real Madrid and Ferguson talked him into staying for one more year and then promised him his move that he could go. And it will be the same with Spurs. It will be that you can do it the easy way or the hard way. You can stay here, make sure we get into our new stadium. Okay, we all get in. We know where we are. We qualify for the Champions League. And then we might let you go.
We're talking here, we're assuming it is Pochettino.
If it is, just a hypothetical.
What we hear, there will be other candidates out there. They won't have it narrowed down to just one or two.
Yeah. Zidane was thrown into the mix as well. Yeah. And the understanding was that he didn't want the job. Well, having seen that, he might have changed his mind.
But when it comes to someone who is currently in a job, let's just say a Pochettino, because it makes it easy, because obviously Zidane is not doing anything right now. If you were a player and you heard a club was interested in you, but no concrete evidence, would that sway you?
Well, first thing to do is to contact your agent and see what he knows. Football it's not as covert perhaps as people think. Within football, it's open, if that makes sense. Everyone kind of knows what's going on and what the general vibe is. If the Pochettino deal is on the cards, then the right people will already know about it.
Would it sway you instead if the call actually came in and then you actually have concrete evidence that, yes, they want me?
Yeah, then there's a conversation to be had.
Then
until then, it's all speculation. If I know that a club wants me, then there is a conversation to be had because it affects me, it affects my family, it affects my career. So there's that conversation, and you'd be foolish not to have the conversation. With Pochettino, I look at Man United and I look at Spurs, one of the most attacking, exciting young sides in Europe, if not the world, with a brand new £800 million stadium. It's going to take an awful lot for Man United to persuade him to leave that.
Should Pochettino go? I mean, in terms of the magnitude of the club, in terms of the global scale of the club, in terms of the finances that will be offered to him, which Tottenham, for example, again, I'm just saying Pochettino because it's the easiest name, not many clubs, not just in England, but around the world can compete with that.
No, that's right. And I think ultimately, if the requirement is there, I think it would be likely to go.
So you think he's likely to go. Do
Yeah.
you think he's likely to go, Dave?
I think he's probably evens at the moment to take that job. I think if it was any other club other than Spurs, with what they've got on the horizon as a football club, which no one else really in world football has, but it's quite convoluted football in terms of when you approach a manager, the first question the manager says is, well, who's coming in? What players am I going to get? It's not how much money, but that's not his doing. It will come from upstairs which players are coming in. So they'll say, well, look, we're already talking to X, Y, and Z. That might be enough to persuade him, because then he will already know what team he's going to get to play with next year. So it's a real tough one.
He might have a certain amount of jurisdiction himself.
Yeah, he can recommend players. Yeah, exactly.
It's a tough one, though, in that scenario, because he has developed and progressed Tottenham. Those individuals, he's been very close to them as well. They move into the new stadium. There's many factors to consider. At the end of the day, for me, the overriding factor is it would just gnaw away at it's Manchester United. I know they're in a relatively sorry state right now, or they were before this evening's game, but that can soon change round. And the draw of Manchester United, unless you're talking...
Yeah.
Otherwise, unless he knows, again, you're talking about situations, he might know that Real Madrid are looking at him, keeping an ear out. So he might say, I'll tell you what, I'll stay at Tottenham for another year because I know Madrid
will want him.
I think
me down the line.
I think if Pochettino were 60 years old or something, one of the older managers, we've seen Neil Warnock there, 70 years old, still in the Premier League, then he might feel that is his chance and his only chance. But Pochettino's a young man who's performed miracles. I don't think this will be his only chance to ever get his hands on Man United. And going directly from Spurs to Man United might be a problem. Going via Spain might be an idea.
Very briefly, and one question, it's such an interesting topic here. Regrets. I remember Michael Owen saying, why did he leave Liverpool to go to Real Madrid? Because he didn't want to regret it.
Yeah.
So it comes down to this again. I mean, during your careers, was there anything you regretted?
Oh, any footballer who says, I've got no regrets.
Biggest regret, then, that you can tell us?
Moving to Stoke. At Reading, I had everything. I had the fans on my side. I had a manager who loved me. I had a great family life. Everything was sorted, and we got relegated. The club couldn't afford to keep me. They had to cash in. So as the striker, they cashed in on me. And I had to leave. And I came back 6 months later on loan. It was the worst decision I ever made. And I've been very open about it. Because, as I say, I believe that any player who can sit here and say, I've got no regrets, everyone has regrets.
See, that's the thing, Pochettino, that first part about how everyone loved you, your family loved it, you could apply it to Mauricio Pochettino.
Yeah,
as
you
well.
can,
That's
but
the thing.
as I say,
Regrets.
I was 29 years old, and it was a chance to go back to play in the Premier League, having been relegated.
But your story was different because you were working in a supermarket, weren't you?
I was, yeah. I didn't become a footballer until I was 21.
There you go.
So I kind of look at the game maybe a little bit differently to other people. No, well, just in general. Not because I'm right.
Myself, I was a late starter as well. I came from non-league
as well,
professional. Yeah,
but you were at youth football.
I did for a period
Palace.
of time, Crystal Palace and Wimbledon, but not after the age of 14. I just came alternative methods. I've got a couple of regrets. One of them that Manchester United didn't come in for me.
Yes, that's true.
Always bothered me.
Very well publicised, of course.
It's not too late.
Yeah, not in terms of actual transfers myself, but I regret the fact I didn't apply myself properly at a young age. When I first got into the game, I couldn't believe I was actually getting paid to play football professionally.
Yeah.
And it took me a little while to adjust. And a bit like Dave, I was a late developer as well. I was 28 by the time I played in the Premier League.
You came from Oxford and then you went over to Leicester, of
then I
course.
went to Leicester, but I ended up 7 out of those 8 years in the Premier League itself, and my time at Leicester. So, late developer. My father always used to say, sometimes these overnight sensations, son, take a little bit longer than you think. But I know when you're talking about regrets, Liverpool was supposedly came in for me at one stage. It was myself and Gabriel Batistuta they were after, apparently. Now, Elliott and Batistuta just goes together, doesn't it?
Wow.
But it never quite materialised again for some reason. I don't know. I've been told that subsequently since I finished my career. But again, that sort of thing happens in football. People come in, you don't even find out about it until it's too late. There's a lot of conjecture about managerial positions, and so many factors come into it. It can be frustrating.
It's a question of regrets. He might regret saying yes, he might regret saying no.
Yeah, but
Pochettino.
yeah, it can work both ways.
Even if he says no, he's not exactly in a bad position, is he?
No.
You know, it's a decent club, Tottenham.